a secret spy drone unit. China is targeting UK politicians and their families, and Taiwan is arming itself for a possible invasion. And more on this week's China News Headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by Surfshark. You should be using a VPN like Surfshark to protect yourself whenever you go online. I'll explain more at the end. The fallout from top-secret U.S. documents that were leaked online continues. According to the Washington Post, the documents show that China is readying a supersonic spy drone unit. The documents show two WZ-8 rocket-propelled reconnaissance drones at the base. They travel at least 3 times the speed of sound and can map out territory at night and in foggy weather. In addition to gathering intel, the drones could be modified to carry weapons, according to one defense expert. The U.S. believes the spy drone unit is geared toward taking Taiwan. However, Shirley Pin from Taiwan's military weapons developer said the drone's primary use won't be against Taiwan, but against the United States and its military bases in the Pacific. Speaking of Taiwan, it's not taking the Chinese threat lying down. Taiwan reportedly has a contract to buy 400 anti-ship missiles from Boeing. The U.S. had already approved the sale in 2020. Yeah, things move that slowly in the U.S. defense business, which is bad news because things are moving at hypersonic speeds in China. The missiles are a land-based harpoon that could target Chinese ships in the event of an invasion. Taiwan already has ship-based harpoons that it bought from the U.S., and as might be expected, the Chinese government wasn't happy about this. China warned the U.S. that it was playing with fire and promised unspecified retaliation. Angering China seems to be Taiwan's full-time job. I wonder if it comes with benefits. However, at least this time, China's anger surprisingly didn't make it into the headlines. Progress, people, real progress. It ceases to be headline news when everything Taiwan does makes China angry. Taiwan just existing makes China angry. Let's not give it any more oxygen. Now let's just hope Taiwan gets its harpoons before China invades. U.S. contractors have been known to deliver years after their promised delivery dates. Man, you would think the country that gave rise to Amazon could do better than that. And after the break, China is trying to foolproof itself from U.S. sanctions. Welcome back. China has threatened to invade Taiwan if diplomatic attempts to take Taiwan fail. And seeing how invading went for Russia, China's preparing for the worst, meaning it's preparing for lots and lots of Western sanctions. Because of that, China's central bank has reportedly been stockpiling gold, which is smart because everyone accepts gold these days. Well, at least this kind of gold. According to the Epoch Times, for the past 5 months, China's central bank has been increasing its gold reserves while simultaneously decreasing its holdings of U.S. bonds, which might not work. A lot of transactions are done in dollars, even overseas. And one way the U.S. has been able to punish Russia is through limiting its access to the dollar. In addition to increasing its supply of gold, China has also been trying to get other countries to trade in, well, not dollars. Speaking of which, that's exactly what China and Brazil are doing. Brazil's new far-left president, Lula da Silva, was in China last week. During his visit, the two countries inked several deals to trade in their own currencies. The deals were made in February, but were reportedly finalized on this trip. Also finalized was Brazil's former president being sworn in as the head of the new development bank. Man, what is it with Brazilian leaders selling out to China? Did they hear gold and think there was a gold rush in China? The development bank is based in Shanghai. It was set up by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This group is known as BRICS and was founded to counter Western-led development banks, IMF and World Bank. According to Chinese state media, Da Silva said that he asks himself every night why all countries trade in the U.S. dollar instead of other currencies. He thinks countries should trade in their own currencies instead, which I'm sure was music to Xi Jinping's ears. There's nothing China would like more than to make the dollar irrelevant. But speaking of Brazil and South America, or south of South America, China is expanding its footprint in Antarctica. Satellite images show it's ramping up construction on its 5th station there. This is the first time since 2018 any work has visibly been done on it. The station is supposedly for non-military scientific research, but because China uses a civil-military fusion strategy, that's highly unlikely. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the station's position may enable it to collect signals intelligence from Australia and New Zealand, and could collect telemetry data on rockets launching from newly established space facilities in both countries. And speaking of Australia, an Australian businessman has been charged with selling state secrets to China. The Chinese spies allegedly gave him envelopes of cash in return for compiling reports on Australia's defense and mining capabilities. 55-year-old Alexander Sergo had been living in China for decades. He said he was first approached by the Chinese agents on LinkedIn. He claims after he became aware his two contacts were spies, he became scared and operated in survival mode. Just like how I play Minecraft. Prosecutors say he arrived in Australia with a laundry list of intelligence targets and worked with two others to secretly compile the information. His lawyer claimed he was just using publicly available information and downplayed the cash payments. He said cash payments for consulting reports might have a color to it in Australia, but might be the way it's done in China. It's not necessarily sinister. He's actually right. Envelopes of cash are quite common in China, especially for paying off foreigners. Check out this interview we did on our podcast about China bribing officials in the Pacific Islands. The link is in the description below. And after the break, it's not just Australia. China's also targeting UK politicians and their families. Welcome back. UK politicians say they have been targeted for speaking out against China. They accuse China of monitoring MPs and their families as part of a campaign to intimidate them. One former Tory leader who's been outspoken about Chinese human rights abuses said he believed he and his family were being watched. He says he was also the target of cyber attacks that he claimed to have been traced back to Hong Kong. According to The Telegraph, this hacker allegedly sought to convince politicians around the world that the ex-minister had recanted his views and now considered the Chinese Communist Party to be a beacon of goodness and decency. Meanwhile, another Tory MP told The Telegraph that a colleague's child had to change their study plans after one school they were accepted into had their China funding threatened. Lord David Alton, who was sanctioned by China, said emails were mysteriously wiped from his phone. He believed China was behind that and attacks on his personal website. A former chairman of the House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee, who was likewise sanctioned by China, said his email was routinely hacked. He said the UK's intelligence agency told him his Gmail account was safer than his parliamentary account because of all the attacks. The hacker sent emails from his account claiming he had stepped down as Foreign Affairs Chairman, which wasn't true. He called it part of a Chinese PSYOP, or psychological operation, to discredit him. That's not just Australia and the UK, though. All of China's overseas campaigns have been getting a lot of attention recently. Two men were arrested in New York this week for allegedly running an underground Chinese police station. I'll have more on that in tomorrow's episode, so stay tuned. And Elon Musk better watch out because China is coming for his Cybertruck. Chinese company Great Wall Motors unveiled its Cyber Pickup at the Shanghai Auto Show this week. The Cyber Pickup, or Cyberspace Pickup, or simply Cyberspace as it's called, is a hybrid six-wheeler. Apparently they're still figuring out the name though because the spelling changes depending on where you look on the truck. Like Tesla's Cybertruck, it's also electric, or at least it can be. It's powered by a choice of gas or diesel engines and can be switched to fully electric. Great Wall Motors has said that the truck will also come with the option of being motivated by either a 3.0-liter turbocharged plug-in hybrid, hydrogen fuel cell, or other superpower. I wonder what that superpower could be. Possibly super soldier serum? So far it's just a model, but it's been reported it could actually be produced for the Chinese market. Because of course, when has China ever passed up an opportunity to make a knockoff of a great product? And this episode is sponsored by Surfshark. When you go online, everything you do is being tracked and logged by the websites you visit and your internet service provider, and in many cases, by your government. That's why no matter where you live or what you do online, you should always be keeping your internet activity private with a VPN. And now Surfshark has servers you can connect to in over 100 countries. That's more than any other VPN. That makes your connection faster and more reliable. Plus, Surfshark has top-of-the-line encryption and a no-logs policy, meaning they don't collect your browsing data. In fact, Surfshark was rated Editor's Choice for the best VPN for privacy and security by PC Mag. So check out Surfshark. With just one Surfshark account, you can connect as many devices as you want. Try it out now. Surfshark has a special deal that includes 83% off a 2-year plan, plus 3 extra months for free. You can protect yourself for just $221 a month. So go to surfshark.com/uncensored and use the code uncensored to secure this deal. The link is in the description below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.